16 people are missing tonight from a community that sits right on the doorstep of Nigeria's capital city. Not in a faraway village, not in a remote forest town. In Kubwa, Abuja. Inside the Peze community in Biazi, Buari Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, armed men came in the night, moved from house to house, and took 16 of your fellow Nigerians. And one of those people was a woman who had only arrived to visit her sister 3 days before the attack. She came to say hello. She left in the hands of kidnappers. Tuesday night, somewhere between 9:30 and 10 o'clock, the community of Peze became a hunting ground. The attack was not random. It was not rushed. These gunmen moved with patience and purpose. One resident sitting inside his house looked across the street and noticed something odd. A group of men had gathered quietly inside an uncompleted building directly opposite his window. They were not talking loudly. They were not drawing attention. They were watching and waiting. That resident stayed still, barely daring to breathe as he watched these men crouch in the darkness, preparing for what was about to happen. When the gunmen moved, they knocked on doors, and when those doors did not open, they did not walk away. They pressed their faces close and made one thing very clear. Open this door, or we will come through the window, and everyone inside will die. Think about what it means to be a parent in that moment. Your children are somewhere in that house, it is 10 o'clock at night, and someone with a gun is standing between you and your next breath. They swept through house after house. 16 people were taken in total that night, but among those 16, some stories cut deeper than others. A pastor who lives in the community had briefly stepped out that evening. While he was gone, the gunmen entered his home. By the time his phone started ringing, by the time neighbors began calling to warn him about the attack, he was already running back. He got home and found his house almost empty. 4 of his children had been taken. The only one left behind was the youngest. That pastor stood in his own home, and the silence where his children used to be was louder than anything the gunmen had said. And then there is the Vigilante commander. This is a man who had been actively working to protect that community, a man who was known in the area, respected, relied upon. That Tuesday night, he had stepped out of his house around 10 p.m. when a neighbor called him urgently. Armed men had entered a house nearby. He turned and ran toward the location he was told about, trying to help, trying to do what he had always done for that community. What he did not know, what he could not have known, was that while he was running toward one end of the street, the gunmen had already moved in behind him and surrounded his own house. And when he tried to return home, they blocked the road. They opened fire on him. He managed to escape with his life, but his house had already been emptied. His wife was gone, and so was her younger sister, the woman who had traveled in just 3 days earlier for a family visit, who woke up that morning with no reason in the world to believe that this would be how her visit ended. If you have been watching this channel, you know this is not the first time we have covered a story like this from the Kubwa and Buari area. This corridor, these satellite communities on the edge of Abuja, has been bleeding quietly for years now. Ordinary families, not politicians, not billionaires. Ordinary people just trying to live their lives are the ones being taken. Ransom is the business, fear is the product, and communities like Peze, with little to no government protection, are left to rely on vigilante men who now cannot even protect their own wives. As at March 6, 2026, when this story was filed, the FCT Police Public Relations Officer, SP Josephine Ade, had not responded to calls. No official statement, no rescue update. 16 people still in the hands of armed men. 16 families waiting by their phones tonight. If this story hits you the way it hit us, take a second right now and subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell, because stories like this one deserve to be heard, and your subscription is how we keep bringing them to you. Now, here is the question we want to leave with you today, and we genuinely want your answer in the comments. If a vigilante commander protecting an entire community cannot keep his own wife safe inside his own home,
What exactly is the government of the FCT doing with the security infrastructure of this nation's capital? Because Abuja is not just any city, it is the address of power in Nigeria. And if Peze can fall to armed men on a Tuesday night with zero response, then every one of us needs to ask where exactly safety begins and where it ends in this country. Drop your thoughts below. Share this video so more people can talk about it, and we will keep watching and we will keep telling you the truth.